Right, so this is a challenge rather than a game, I suppose. What we're going to do here is we're going to try and organise them into rows and columns with common colours. So I'm going to start with a 2 by 2 grid. So what I've got here, I've got 2 cards and anything in common? Yep, so I can see, you know, they've both got at least two reds there, so that's good. And then of course what's different, this one's got an extra green, this one has an extra 3 reds. So now I want to see if I can extend the columns. And to extend the columns, so for example, I'm going to imagine that I'm going to extend this column in that way. So I've used one of the greens there and I've added a green coming down into the column down there. Now what that means is the 2 reds don't come down with it, of course, because they were common in that column. When we come down, they're not going to be common anymore. So we're actually going to be taking out those 2 reds. So now I've got to find a card that will fit in that space there. So I'll be left with 3 reds. So that might work, but of course I've got to have something in common in this one as well. And it looks like I've got an extra green there, so I want to make, it's going to have to be that. So those 3 reds were okay, but I'll need a green there as well. Here we go. So I've got, in this row, I've got 2 reds. Let me just grab a pen and mark this one. So in this row, it's 2 reds, which make that row what it is. And that's what that row has in common. And if we look at this column, that column has 3 reds. And that's what that column has in common with everything else in that column. In this column we've got just 1 green, so we've got to make sure that everything in that column has 1 green, so I can colour that one in. And what about that row? That's also, all they've got in common is that they've got to have 1 green. There we go. And we've done it. We've organised these colours into rows and columns. We don't need to stop there. We can carry on. So let's say I want to add a card down there. Doesn't really matter what I add, but I know it's got to have 1 green. Whatever else it has is neither here nor there, but it's got to have 1 green. Let's go with this one. Okay, so that's got a green, but it's got an additional one as well. So what's been added there? Well, I've got my 1 green, which is in that column, but I've also got a blue, so I now know that for that row we are dealing with an extra blue. So what card would I have to find for there? Does that card exist? I know it's got to have 3 reds, because everything in that column has 3 reds, and I know that row has a blue. So there we go. And that fits that row. And now, of course, I may want to extend it out this way. So I'm going to find another card that will fit, let's say, up here. Now, all I know about it is it's got to have 2 reds. There's got to be 2 reds in it. And the rest, we don't really mind. So I need a card with 2 reds, at least 2 reds. Oh look, this one could be interesting. Just 2 reds. And what about up here? Well, nothing really. There's nothing left over. It's just the 2 reds. So when I extend this one, I just want to put down whatever is in that column. So we've just got a green there, and we've just got a blue here. Okay, and I don't need to fill anything else in. There's nothing that this row has in common at all. There's nothing in common, and so that's really good.